Africa is in motion. A continent long underestimated is today standing taller, reclaiming sovereignty and charting a new destiny. The rise of Captain Ibrahim Traoré in Burkina Faso shocked the world, a young, bold, Pan-Africanist leader who defied global powers and chose the path of independence. At just 35 years old, he rose from the ranks of Burkina Faso's army to become the face of a new Africa, reclaiming national gold revenues, launching massive development projects, and standing boldly against foreign domination. His leadership became a symbol, proof that Africa's youth could rise, govern, and resist external control. But history never stops with one man, and the burning question now is, who is next? Which emerging leaders are prepared to follow this path of courage, to liberate Africa's wealth, and to inspire a new generation? Across West Africa, the front line of resistance has been drawn. In Mali, Colonel Assimi Goïta has stood side by side with Traoré. After taking power, he positioned Mali as a sovereign nation, no longer willing to be dictated to by Paris or Washington. His leadership has been marked by bold decisions, expelling foreign troops that overstayed their welcome, restructuring security policy, and aligning Mali's interests with Africa First development. In neighboring Niger, General Abdourahmane Tiani shook the continent when he ousted a pro-Western government and took charge of a nation that is the world's second-largest source of uranium, a mineral critical to Europe's energy supply. With control over such a strategic resource, Tiani became not just a national figure but a global one. And then there is Guinea's Colonel Mamadi Doumbouya. In 2021, he shocked the world by toppling Alpha Condé, who had forced his way into a controversial third term. Doumbouya's speeches, often fiery and unapologetic, echo the memory of Thomas Sankara. Guinea, sitting on the largest reserves of bauxite, essential for global aluminum production, suddenly had a leader willing to stand against external interests. Together, Traoré, Goïta, Tiani, and Doumbouya are not isolated figures. They are bound by a shared vision, sovereignty, Pan-African solidarity, and the refusal to let their nations remain as mere appendages to foreign powers. This is why they came together to form the Alliance of Sahel States, a military and political bloc that has become the symbol of defiance in West Africa. But this wave of new leadership is not limited to the Sahel. In East Africa, Ethiopia's Abiy Ahmed has been a controversial but undeniable figure. As a young leader, he found himself facing internal war, global condemnation, and sanctions. Yet he stood firm, resisting foreign pressure, seeking African solutions to African problems, and ensuring Ethiopia did not become another pawn in the great power chessboard. In Somalia, President Hassan Sheikh Mohamud has been navigating his country's fight against extremism while balancing the interests of world powers drawn to the Red Sea and the Horn of Africa. And in Tanzania, President Samia Suluhu Hassan has emerged as a steadying hand after the era of John Magufuli, carefully building stability while maintaining Tanzania's independence from external dictates. In Central Africa, Faustin Archange Touadéra of the Central African Republic has already made himself a symbol of resistance. Defying decades of French dominance, Touadéra invited new partnerships and reasserted control over gold and diamond resources once looted by outsiders. His bold choices earned him both admiration and enemies, but his survival against pressure shows the resilience of this new African leadership. In Cameroon, the end of Paul Biya's long rule looms. After more than 4 decades, the people are demanding change, and it is only a matter of time before a younger generation rises to claim leadership. The winds of generational change are sweeping across Central Africa. In Southern Africa, the narrative is also shifting. Namibia's young politicians are increasingly vocal about land redistribution and mining reforms. South Africa's Julius Malema, though not in government, has become one of the continent's loudest Pan-Africanist voices. His Economic Freedom Fighters Party has inspired millions of African youth who believe in resource control, land reclamation, and continental unity. Even Mozambique, rich in natural gas, is at the crossroads. President Felipe Nyusi has had to balance between international companies, security threats, and the will of the people to keep wealth within national borders. Southern Africa's future will not be shaped by the old liberation parties alone, but by this rising generation that sees sovereignty as non-negotiable. Across Africa today, several leaders stand accused of staggering corruption, draining their nations while their people suffer. Kenya's William Ruto has already been ranked the second most corrupt leader in the world by the OCCRP, with widespread allegations of illicit enrichment and abuse of power. Nigeria's Bola Ahmed Tinubu follows closely, accused of money laundering, vote buying, and links to vast illicit financial flows. In Equatorial Guinea, Teodoro Obiang Nguema Mbasogo, the world's longest-serving president, has been awarded what is called a Lifetime Non-Achievement Award for kleptocracy, as he and his family control obscene wealth while ordinary citizens remain among the poorest. Zimbabwe's Emmerson Mnangagwa faces accusations of deep involvement in illicit gold smuggling networks and scandals tied to COVID-19 procurement schemes under his administration. South Sudan's Salva Kiir has presided over one of the world's most corrupt governments, with billions in oil revenues allegedly siphoned off since independence, leaving the people in dire poverty. Uganda's Yoweri Museveni, in power for nearly 4 decades, has faced repeated scandals over bribery, patronage networks, and misuse of state resources. Djibouti's Ismail Omar Guelleh and Eritrea's Isaias Afwerki run regimes marked by opacity and elite corruption, while in the Republic of Congo, Denis Sassou Nguesso has been repeatedly linked to offshore luxury properties and massive misuse of public funds. And in Cameroon, Paul Biya, one of the world's longest-ruling presidents, is often cited for extravagant family spending and entrenched corruption that has hollowed out national institutions. Together, these figures form the dark side of Africa's political landscape, leaders who embody the very corruption and dependency that the new generation of Pan-African leaders seeks to break free from. But Africa's future is not only in the hands of presidents and generals. Youth movements are increasingly shaping the political direction of the continent. From Senegal's Yin Emar to Nigeria's #EndSARS, young Africans have shown they're not passive. They are challenging dictatorship, exposing corruption, and demanding reforms. These movements have shaken regimes, forced political concessions, and proven that Africa's next leaders may emerge directly from the streets and from civil society, not only from military barracks or political parties. The timing of this leadership wave is significant. The world is changing rapidly. Western dominance is weakening, new global alliances are forming, and Africa is no longer seen as passive ground for exploitation but as a decisive actor in global affairs. Russia and China are strengthening ties across the continent, while Western powers scramble to hold on. Into this vacuum step Africa's new leaders. They are not begging for aid. They are demanding respect. They are reclaiming natural resources and restructuring trade deals. The rise of Traore and his contemporaries has proven that Africa can stand on its own terms. Yet the challenges remain immense. These leaders face terrorism, foreign-backed rebellions, sanctions, and endless propaganda wars. History reminds us of how African icons were targeted, Lumumba assassinated, Sankara betrayed, Gaddafi bombed. The enemies of African liberation remain as determined as ever. But this generation is different. They have learned from history. They are building alliances, controlling key resources, and creating united military structures like the AES to defend themselves. This is why many across Africa and the diaspora believe the tide is turning for good. So, who is next after Traore? The answer is not found in one name or one man alone. The answer is found in a generation. A wave of leaders who are rewriting the rules, from Goita in Mali, Tiani in Niger, and Doumbouya in Guinea, to Touadéra in the Central African Republic, Abiy Ahmed in Ethiopia, and even outspoken voices like Julius Malema in South Africa. They may differ in style, they may face unique challenges, but they share one thing in common: the desire for an Africa that governs itself, owns its wealth, and walks proudly on the global stage. Africa is not waiting anymore. The age of dependency is fading, and the age of sovereignty is rising. The leaders we have discussed are not perfect, but they represent something bigger: Africa reclaiming Africa. The world is watching closely. And the question is not whether Africa will rise. The question is who will lead the charge after Traore. Thank you for watching. If you want more powerful African stories told from our perspective, make sure to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss an update. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Who do you believe is the next great African leader? Let's continue this conversation, because together, we are rewriting the African narrative.